Okay. And welcome back, everyone. How are you doing? Welcome back to Outside the Cinema, your weekly source for cult movie discussions. I'm Bill. That's Chris. Hello. Welcome. Come back. Everyone here. All right. Good. Let's go.
Yeah. We're here.
Glad you're doing your part.
I'm trying. I'm melted.
Yo. Anyone that thinks this global warming shit isn't real is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, and it's not just because it's hot. That's not what we're saying.
No, I mean, but that kind of brings it home a little bit, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, when Europe is having heat waves and wildfires like California, there's a problem.
Yeah, and it's accelerating.
Yeah.
I mean, just be done with it already and just end up wherever we're gonna end up.
Yeah. Let's just live on a charcoal briquette floating through space. We'll be fine.
That's fine. Anyway, speaking of fine, welcome back to the show. Patreon picks this week for OTC. We dove back in because he's been a listener for so long into Shane's picks, and we're doing Luz, Flower of Evil, and we are doing The Visitor. The Visitor is a film that I'm really surprised we actually haven't covered yet. It's like the amalgamation of every Italian ripoff film all thrown into one film.
Yeah.
With some actual money behind it. So it's an interesting watch. And Luz, Flowers of Evil, is one of two films titled Luz that came out a couple years ago. I had seen the other one at a couple film festivals that Film Freaks played at, and I actually hadn't watched this. And it was brought up again to a lot of people through the folk horror documentary, which I can never remember the name of. And I apologize, but is what it is. And it is a Colombian film, and it's going to be interesting to talk about. You guys like to delve into the religious stuff with us, so that's what we're going to do. What else is going on? I know everyone's talking about Prey. I haven't watched it yet. I know you want to talk about it. I'm going to need you to hold off just for a week. I will get to it this week, I promise. I know one of our Patreon listeners were like, "Oh, that can be my pick," so we'll do that next week. And a lot of people, a lot of mixed reactions on it.
On what?
On Prey.
Really?
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of there's nobody sitting on the fence. Everyone is either like it's great or it sucks.
I don't understand how it could suck, to be honest. What do they want? That's what I'm interested in. What did you want from the movie? And how can you not accept what you got instead?
I don't know. I'll watch it and I'll tell you. Because obviously my opinion is what ends all arguments.
Oh yeah, I can tell.
I've never started an argument with my opinion.
I can tell by the ratings of Fright Night on IMDb. Yeah.
Yes, very true. If you want to be a Patreon member, sign up at patreon.com/outsidethecinema. Your weekly source for cult movie discussion, taking care of our supporters. $5 a month to get you access to the show archives, get you the shows early, get you everything you could possibly want if you are a fan of the show. All the content that you can't get anywhere else is available there. I am so tired. I am sorry if I was falling asleep sitting here. And just Travis had 3 friends sleep over last night. So
Oh no.
Yeah, so they didn't go to bed really at all.
Yeah.
And they were just loud enough to keep waking me up.
Oh.
So I'm just very, very tired. And I took Travis school shopping today too. So
did you find a nice school for him?
Yeah, I mean, no, we're gonna keep the one we have. I think.
That's good to look around
it yet. He hasn't outgrown it yet. Trying to just think. I watched the new Woodstock documentary 3-parter that they had on Netflix. Clusterfuck. Despite it being 3 episodes and being twice as long as the HBO documentary, they managed to cover significantly less in it, which I thought was pretty interesting.
No.
I don't understand, just not to get into a full review of it. They did delve into the writing part of it a little bit more deep than they did in the HBO documentary, but they didn't even mention that a couple of people died, which I thought was very, very bizarre. That they didn't talk about the sexual assaults until very late in the film. They kept kind of the way they did it was they kept kind of like alluding to things happening and then kind of like really hit it. But they didn't. The thing that just really kind of weirded me out with it was that they didn't get nearly as specific as the other one did. And the other one, like, they never, so like, they basically, much like the other one, kind of blamed Limp Bizkit for the way things went down. And I don't buy into that. They're a band. They did their thing. Are they, is Fred Durst an asshole? Yeah, probably. But like,
what did they claim the inciting incident was?
Essentially, Limp Bizkit set, and he didn't do anything to quell the mayhem that was happening.
Okay.
And didn't basically just. I mean, here's the thing: Limp Bizkit, they did their thing. They did the Limp Bizkit thing. They went out there and they played their songs, and they were fucking crazy and like.
And did they end with "Break Stuff" or whatever that song is?
No, they played it in like the middle of the set.
Oh, so it can't even be like, he incited them with the encore or whatever.
No, but that's what the Chili Peppers ended up. They basically were like, the people burned everything down because the Chili Peppers came back out after being told to help quiet the crowd, came back out and played their cover of Jimi Hendrix's song Fire, and then the place burned to the ground. But like, they just left out like such large chunks of information. Like they didn't even mention that Rage Against the Machine and Metallica played after Limp Bizkit. Like they didn't even mention that. They talked a bit about Korn playing on Friday night and how the crowd was like really, really crazy for Korn, but it wasn't like the outright like violence and like it was just like people were out of control. But they talked about how Limp Bizkit basically like made everybody go insane and stuff started getting torn apart when they were playing, and then didn't mention that Rage and Metallica played after them, and then talked about how people were crazy at the rave tent during Fatboy Slim. It just it was like they were very
festival. Like what do you expect? People are there to get riled up. Like,
right, but it doesn't happen like that usually.
Yeah, well,
like that's not the response every time there's a music festival.
Really? Because all of the Lollapaloozas I went to at Great Woods ended up with the place burned up.
No.
Yeah.
No, nothing like this. Nothing like
well,
this.
I mean, you make the crowd size 10 times bigger, but we still ripped up the entire lawn and burned the fence to the ground.
The lawn at Great Woods got ripped up every single show for the first 10 years the place was there.
Yeah,
that
true.
wasn't like that wasn't like a one-time incident. And
no,
ripping the lawn up
I've
is a lot
seen it
fucking
times.
different.
Yeah.
Ripping that lawn up is a hell of a lot different than fucking burning everything to the ground.
Well, like I'm saying, we also ripped out the fence in the back and created bonfires. So,
but not like this. Trust me.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying. What I'm saying is you can't blame the band because everybody knows the music. If any band,
you blame the organizers. You have to. Blame
if any
the
band was gonna do it, I could see Limp Bizkit maybe laying the groundwork. Getting the crowd riled up. But if you want music to riot by, that's Rage Against the Machine. That's adrenaline in music notes.
Yeah, the issue with that though is it's so funny because like Rage Against the Machine is so political. I'm going to see Friday night at Madison Square Garden. By the way.
Nice.
Is so political, but because they're aggressive, meatheads still listen to them and don't understand like. What was remember a couple of years ago where it was like that fucking white no, I don't know if it was a white power guy, but some guy that was just like told Tom Morello on Twitter that he should keep his because Morello made a stance against something, which Tom Morello does, every single day.
Oh yeah.
And he's like, I liked it better when you kept your politics out of your music. And Morello responded to the dude who was just like, have you ever read the lyrics to a Rage Against the Machine song?
Yeah.
Like, you are barking up the wrong tree, dude, because you're the guy we're writing about.
I think the only time Morello may have written music that wasn't political was like the theme to Pacific Rim.
Well, yeah, because there's no lyrics.
Right. Right.
But somehow he still managed to be like, this whammy dive is for the people of Ghana.
If you're into that kind of rock anthem type of soundtrack, then that's gonna get you. It could be good motivational music, but not like Rage. No, it's in their name.
My whole point was that like they very strategically kind of picked who they were gonna make the scapegoat in the documentary. You know.
Yeah, and you don't have to have a scapegoat. That's the thing.
At the end of the day, it was the organizers. They didn't they cut corners everywhere. They wanted, and they said right out, this was about making money. This wasn't about putting on like a magical festival. They were like, Woodstock '94 went really well and people loved it, but we didn't make any money, so we need to do this one to make money.
I don't remember
it's an interesting watch
going
for sure.
well. Maybe financially it went well.
No, they literally just said that 1994 didn't make any money.
No, yeah, but I don't see how it went well. It seemed like, from what I watched, a disaster all around.
I don't know what you're watching, man.
Fences got torn down.
You have it all backwards.
People were getting him free. 94 was not.
Well, that was their issue. That was their issue with 94 was that the fences came down and everyone came in for free, which is why they didn't make any money.
Yeah,
but
so
the
that's
concert itself,
that's not going well.
No, but the concert itself. Nobody died.
Okay,
there was no riots.
Here's the thing, though.
I'm talking.
That is the least amount of what you would expect from a concert. I would like to go see a show and not die.
Right.
Like, how that's not doing well. That's like baseline average, right? So
yes, you're missing the point I'm making here, though.
Purposely, I think.
The point I'm making is that they basically went out in Woodstock 99 to make money.
No, I know that. I do know
it wasn't about the experience. It wasn't about, they had it at a fucking closed down Air Force base. But they wanted to try to be like, oh, it's like the Summer of Love and like all this bullshit. Here, Summer of Love, here's Kid Rock. Like, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was an interesting watch, and I'm glad I watched it.
Okay.
But like, there was too many holes. I mean, the fucking guy died during fucking Metallica set, and they didn't even mention him.
Wow.
Like, that's the part that I just couldn't get over.
So that's...
And then when they talked about...
Go ahead.
I was going to say, then when they talked about the sexual assaults, it was all just so, like, matter of fact. It was bizarre.
There were probably thousands of sexual assaults.
Well, they said, there was hundreds reported.
Right, which means thousands happened.
Which there was way more.
Yeah.
But the other issue they said was that so many people were so high out of their mind that they were like, there was probably a lot of people that were assaulted that never even knew, like, had no idea, don't remember it. That's what I'm saying. That's what they said.
That sounds like hand-waving bullshit. Oh, they were all
that
high.
Was essentially every single person. Well, the guy that was the like main promoter guy, he blamed the girls. He blamed the women.
Of course he did.
He was like, oh, well, they're out there. They're all naked anyway. So, I mean, what do you expect? Hey, you expect to be able to walk around and not get molested.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you expect from a capitalist asshole? Huh? Oh, Accountability?
The guy was such a dick.
Yeah, but would he have sucked the dick for a case of water? That's the question.
Would he?
Would he
Probably,
have?
yeah.
Would he have? Does he care enough
if it
about
made
the
him
festival?
more money?
Yeah.
If it made him more money, he would have been on top of it.
I still feel bad for that Firefest guy.
They needed him. I don't feel bad for that guy. Oh, that guy, yeah.
That guy.
Yeah, I thought you meant your boy Billy McFarland.
No,
I don't feel bad for that guy.
the put a dick in my mouth for water. Like,
and then still, oh man,
and then tell people about it. Like, I feel that guy is broken. I feel so bad for him because he just wanted to do a good job. I think he really just wanted to make this memorable for people. Because or he's really good at manipulating people's feelings. I'm not sure.
I don't know, either.
But anyway,
all right, let's get into the
music
show.
Festivals are a giant clusterfuck 9 times out of 10.
I don't know, man. I went to Riot Fest last year, and it was fucking great.
All right. So that's one.
No, I didn't see. I mean, I've been doing a number of festivals now, and it's never been, like, I've never had a point where I didn't feel safe. I never had a point where I was, like, worried about, like, what was going on around me. It was, I mean... Riot Fest to me was like, that's the way you do this. Like, they had everything spread out well enough that like people weren't crushing each other. Like, I mean, and it's not like there wasn't fucking Body Count played, so there was definitely aggressive bands playing.
That's the thing. That's a huge
like,
point is picking the right place for it. That goes a long way.
It's the setup too.
Yeah.
I mean, that Juice World thing went down because Live Nation fucking cut corners on their setup. That's what happened with that, and then the fact that also fucking not Juice Nation, Travis, what's Travis? Travis
Scott Barker.
Travis Scott. I mean, and he's just a legit piece of shit. So
he's the one that got in all that trouble for people dying at his concert a few months ago.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking exactly that. Okay.
I'm talking exactly about the Astroworld incident where 9 people were crushed to death in the crowd, and he didn't even stop the show, and the promoters didn't stop the show, and like it's just.
What about the event place? Like, surely there was must be a person still there watching events. Like, couldn't they have shut it down? It's just so fucked up.
Well, that's the confusion. Nobody seems to know why. Like, they were trying to get information to the stage, and I'm like, you just pull the plug.
Yeah, you turn on the house lights and you cut the amps.
Yeah, it was outdoors, so.
Well, they must have lights for when everybody's leaving, right?
Nah, not necessarily.
Okay.
But either way, all right, we got to get into this because, like I said, I'm falling asleep. Luz, The Flower of Evil, and The Visitor are the 2 picks this week. Both of them come from our friend Shane, who's been a listener and friend of the show for many, many years. I guess let's start with The Visitor, I guess.
All right. I'm just going to roll out of view for a second and grab something out of my bag.
All right.
But I'm listening.
There's something. I can't explain it, Raymond. There's something wrong inside, something terrible. No, she scares me, Raymond. There's something, I don't know. She's my baby, my little girl. It's not her fault.
Her name is Katie Collins. She'll be 8 years old.
Okay, 1979's The Visitor. Pause, please. Thank you. Starring Mel Ferrer, Glenn Ford, Lance Henriksen, John Huston, Joanna Neal, Sam Peckinpah, Shelley Winters, Paige Connor, and a host of other people. I mean, some big name people in this movie. Yeah. And it's directed by Giulio Paradisi under a pseudonym. He is probably best known as an actor. He was in a ton of stuff. He was in 8.5 and La Dolce Vita and a number of other things. But he did direct a couple flicks, and he also worked as a writer on a number of things. He directed something called Spaghetti House, Tiramisu, and Ragazza del Bagorto, and Teresa Canale, which I have seen. I don't really remember it though. So this is essentially an Italian production, definitely geared towards a U.S. audience, where we talk about the Italian ripoff flick, and how they are the masters of it. This one, they just decided to pretty much rip off like everything.
Yeah.
And put it all in one movie. Primarily, The Omen and The Omen 2 are the 2 films that they're really, really leaning in on. But there's some Exorcist stuff going on. There's some a number of things going on in this.
Yeah, there's some surreal extraterrestrial possible stuff and other dimensions. I'm not really sure. I don't think you're supposed to be entirely sure.
No, it's bizarre to say the least.
Yeah.
It's bizarre to say the least. But I mean, the stars in this obviously big guns. John Huston is obviously known for like Serial Madre and Chinatown and like
Oh
African
my God,
Queen
his
stuff.
voice. His voice is just like melted butter. He has the best
it's the
voice.
best. It's the best.
I first heard him, and he will always be Gandalf in the Bashki
yes, yeah,
Tolkien
yeah.
stuff. Absolutely better voice than McKellen. I think for Gandalf, just yeah. So every time he didn't talk enough in this, but every time he did, it was like whatever frustration or anything I felt for this movie, anything negative, is he came on and he just said a couple, and I'm like, oh, okay, there we go. All right.
Also, obviously, Lance Henriksen, which many of you remember from the film Hard Target.
Yeah.
He's also in a film called Aliens. I don't know if you know about that or not.
Not.
Among other like hundreds of thousands of films.
Right.
that he was in.
Yes. Lance Henriksen
Joanna
has
Neal
not faced a Terminator, Alien, and Predator in his career. So,
So Joanna Neal, who plays the mother in this, I mean, she was one of the main stars of Switchblade Sisters.
oh, was she? Okay.
And I love her. And she was in the Gumball Rally, which we covered.
Oh, yeah.
And she, I mean, so I think this is her third or fourth appearance on the show over the years. And then also Shelley Winters shows up at one point. Mel Ferrer shows up. He's obviously been in a million things over the years.
Yeah.
It's just, it's fucking ridiculous, the people that got to be involved.
The
in this
Shelley
movie.
Winters one blew my mind because
not
she
even in it
was
very much.
huge at the time. She was like top of the line. This is who you get. She's got great comedic timing. She can command a presence on screen. She's just. I think for me personally, she was very underrated as I was growing up. For me.
Agreed. Because she's a killer actress. She's awesome.
I think
also,
whatever she was in, I just wasn't interested in at the time. So
that makes sense.
yeah.
And then also Sam Peckinpah shows up, who obviously is an utter legend. Not even just his directing stuff, like Convoy and Killer Elite. But in all seriousness, like
I can't
Getaway,
take
Bring Me
Convoy
the Head of Alfredo
seriously.
Garcia.
Yeah, okay.
Straw Dogs, like I mean, he's worked on everything. Wild Bunch. I mean,
That's
Sam,
the
it's
Western
fucking Sam
everybody
Peckinpah.
refers back to as the most violent thing ever put on film, right?
Well, I mean, if you've watched like 5 westerns, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like when they talk to boomers in documentaries about movies, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this was the bloodiest movie ever made," and it's like, more movies have been made.
I don't think so much anymore. But yeah, you're not wrong.
I don't think since
so
the '80s.
So Sam Peckinpah being part of this is another just head scratcher of how did they get these people involved in this movie. This was lost for a number of years, resurfaced a few years ago with a number of different DVD and Blu-ray releases. It's now available to watch on virtually every streaming service.
I think
I watched the version on Shudder.
Yeah, me too. I think that's why we didn't cover it, is because everybody went nuts for it when it came out.
Yeah,
And we're
it's
like,
part of it, and
we're not jumping in.
I'll
on
give
that.
a story to kind of go along with that moment in just a moment. But yeah, it's available. So what happened was it was lost for a number of years. And lost is just like nobody had done anything with it.
Yeah.
And then Alamo Drafthouse located a 35 millimeter print of it, showed it, and people lost their fucking minds because they're like, how do we not know about this movie? And when we made Survival of the Film Freaks, it was kind of around that time, just after people had started going nuts over it. And I know when we talked to Jackson, who directed Beyond the Gates, he specifically mentioned this movie, and I get more questions about. Well, there's two clips that show up in Survival of the Film Freaks that I get a lot of questions about. Number one is the scene from the Holy Mountain where the hippos are like bathing in the little fountain, and the guy's like in the giant ball of smoke. And then the other one is the bump scene that the guy on the motorcycle takes in The Visitor, where he gets hit head on with the car, flies off the motorcycle, and goes face first into the windshield and essentially folds in half. And people are like, yo, did that guy die? Like, what movie is that from? Because it looks like there's no way that guy didn't die. And the answer to that is, I don't know, he might have. Couldn't find anything about it.
Yeah,
but if you watch the trailer, it's in the trailer, and it's that we show that clip in Survival of the Film Freaks. So I had watched this when it was released or re-released, I guess, but we didn't cover it on the show, and it was one of those things where every other podcast on the planet was covering it all at once.
Right.
So we just kind of like, you know, you guys know us. We're hands off. We'll get to it eventually, but like if it's the hot thing, unless both of us have seen it and want to talk about it, we're gonna probably let the fires die down a little bit before we go in and stoke those ashes.
Especially when it's an older found movie, because
right, yeah, that's the stuff that drives me nuts, man. Is people just go fucking ape shit over stuff, and it's like, Nate, calm down, like.
Yeah. I don't
down.
want to like, you know, telegraph anything, but yeah. Just because it's new and found and old and was missing doesn't mean it's good. And I'm not saying that's what I'm saying about this. I'm just saying.
Because you found a torrent of it before everyone else watched it doesn't mean it's the best movie that's ever been made.
Right.
There's a lot of that goes around in our circles too, whereas like somebody happened to get their hands on it first, so they have to be the one to champion it.
Right. Which is fine.
It's fine.
But don't get mad when other people are like, hey, you found garbage.
I know, right? So the absolute glorious mess that this movie is, I'm going to try to give you a quick synopsis here, but when I say that like the synopsis really doesn't do it justice, it's like an understatement. So we have two groups, one good and one evil, basically fighting against each other to keep the world out of the hands of evil, you know, or trying to keep the world out of the one hands of the other. We have a very Damien/Omen-like character in this young 8-year-old girl named Katie, who acts like an adult. Like, she doesn't act like a child, really, except for when she needs to act like a child. She is the bringer of the end, I guess. She has all these powers, and she can make crazy stuff happen, explosions, and people... I don't even know. Like, they don't really explain it.
No.
She is the daughter of Lance Henriksen's character. So obviously Lance Henriksen wants to control the world. But more importantly, he needs his basketball team to win the championship. So he has sold his soul to whoever so that the Atlanta Hawks... Oh, it isn't the name of the Atlanta Hawks.
No, it wasn't the Hawks.
The Atlanta box cutters. Is that, I don't even know if that the joke works, but the Atlanta basketball team, he has signed his soul away to the Dark Lord or the Dark Powers, and has been given the daughter that has all the dark energy, so that his team can win the basketball championship. Right? I got that part right? Great. But now they're like, hey, listen, man. So we gave you Katie. We're gonna need another child, so you need to marry this other girl because she will bear the boy who will be the son of Satan, and he will be the one that will, you know, get us to the promised lands or whatever.
Yeah.
Right? So Maggie from Switchblade Sisters doesn't really want to get married. She's already been married once. She's not interested in remarrying again. So she is Katie's stepmother. We don't really know what happened to Katie's mother. There's not really a lot of explanation of it.
No.
We just have to assume they killed her off for some reason. So Katie's in on the whole thing too. So it's not like she doesn't know that she's the spawn of Satan or the spawn of the dark powers or whatever. She's in on it. And they're basically, listen, you got to marry. She's like, you got to marry Dad because I want to have a baby brother. And she says like really weird shit to them. Like, she gets into bed and she's like, you know what you should do? You should do, Maggie, or whatever. I don't remember what her character's name was. I'm going to call her Maggie because that's what she was in Switchblade Sisters. You know what you should do, Maggie? And she's like, I don't know, Katie. What? She's like, you and Dad should have sex so I can have a brother.
Yeah.
She's like,
Barbara.
All right.
Her name was Barbara something.
Barbara.
Barbara. Yes.
She's like, yeah, Katie, you should go away. Like, this is weird. You should go away. So now we have John Huston, who shows up from I don't even know where.
He came from Alp's
we'll say
planet.
Melmac, that works. He has a Polish passport, though. And when he enters the U.S., they're like, all right, have you ever been to the U.S. before? And he's like, in his like the most perfect like American accent, he's like, nope, first time.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, welcome. And then he has a bunch of stuff going on the roof of a building with a bunch of guys with mirrors. He's got the good guys are like this crew of yoga guys. that all have shaved heads, except for Franco Nero, who plays the Jesus-like character. The picture that I posted on our Facebook group is of Franco Nero, and this with like the long bleach blonde hair. And we obviously know Franco Nero's got like the bluest eyes on the planet. And I love Franco Nero. But he does this speech at the beginning of this that just makes no fucking sense.
No.
Makes no fucking sense. And basically, I mean, the movie's just a mess. Like all of that stuff, man. It's just a fucking mess. And they have Katie do all these different things that just like, so they're at the basketball game, and it's like the Atlanta team's up by 1, and then the other team's going down to try to score and is going to shoot a basket to win the game. And Katie causes like an explosion at the rim.
Yeah.
And like, so like there's an explosion.
Yep.
And what seemed like a decent sized explosion that I'm assuming somebody got hurt.
Yes.
And all the fans are just excited because they won the game.
Yeah, I don't know how that worked.
There was no mention of like, oh, Wilt Chamberlain, center for the New Jersey team, dead after explosion.
Right.
But Atlanta wins 99-98. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
Oh, man. And then there's this fucking incredible scene where she's ice skating at a skating rink inside of a mall.
That's right. Okay. I think I've skated in that rink probably pretty close to when this was filmed. I have pictures of me. We went to visit my grandmother in Atlanta, and we went ice skating in a mall. And I swear it's the same mall.
It's got to be. It's got to be them because they specifically thanked the Atlanta mayor in the credits.
Yep.
But this scene where she's at the skating rink is so amazing. So amazing on so many levels.
Yeah.
Because she gets out there and she's skating around and she's skating against the... Like, if you have ever gone to, like, a public skating session at a skating rink, everyone skates in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
They skate... Usually it's counterclockwise. Sometimes it's clockwise, but it doesn't really matter. But everyone skates in the same direction, so you're not skating into people. Your girl Katie gets out there and skates against the grain.
Yep.
Runs into these kids who are, like, old teenagers. She's supposed to be 8 years old. She's also there by herself. There's nobody even there with her.
Yeah, I was confused about that. Like, how did she even get there?
I don't know. So she's like skating, and so these guys are like, hey, let's get this girl. So then also you then have this group of, I don't know, 8 or 9, like 19, 20-year-old boys chasing this 8-year-old girl around this skating rink, like trying to like beat her up.
Yeah.
And nobody does anything. But Katie does something. She starts doing all these like weird like skating moves and all these different things, and literally like starts like throwing these guys through windows, like spins around and then makes them fly out of a window or like fly over the boards, and it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, because nobody does anything
insane.
about it.
No, nobody even says a word.
Nope.
Nobody says anything. So there's also a point where Katie has a birthday party. Everyone's there. They open the present, and there's just a fucking handgun in the present.
Yeah.
And, Mommy, look at this present. And she throws it on the table, and the gun goes off, and she cripples her mother.
Oh, don't forget.
Well, not her mother, the stepmother.
Don't forget, the look she gives her was, what the fuck you gonna do? You know, it happened. Deal with it.
So weird, man.
Yeah.
This whole movie is like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck is happening.
I think that's okay to say on this one. I really do.
I don't know what's happening. I don't know what I guess the end game is for the good guys to get Katie away from the bad guys to keep the world going.
Sure.
But there's no, like, real rhyme or reason. Nobody really gets their comeuppance at the end of it, right? Like, they don't stop the other society.
No, the wife wasn't able to deliver the child, and then, like, they all just were kind of like, all right, whatever.
Oh, the good guys have Katie now, so I guess we're out of here. Maybe we should buy a football team instead. This basketball thing's not working out for us. Let's buy a football team.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's so insane. And then, oh my God, Shelley Winters shows up as the housekeeper. And just like, there's this scene in there where she's like in the kitchen and Katie comes in and she's like, where's my mother? And Shelley Winters just hauls off and slaps this girl across the face.
Yeah, she calls the mother some kind of bad name, doesn't she? Like,
I don't
where's
even
the
think
bitch
so.
or something?
I don't even know. She said something, and she just, and like legitimately slapped her across the face.
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Huh? Wait, what'd you do that for?" And then she slaps her again. You need to be more respectful.
And the whole audience went, "It's about fucking time. Thank you, Shelley."
Right?
And I read
Right?
that she actually, I don't know if it was every time, but I read that she actually slapped that kid.
I love the scene too where she's yelling at the detective. They're like outside of the school, and she's like, "Whatever, you're like a child molester, so like maybe you should leave." And he's like, "Nah, no, I'm good." But at no point does he like take his badge out to be like, "Hey, listen,
No.
I'm a cop." She's like, "What do you want, weirdo?"
Yeah.
He's like, "I just want to talk to you."
So
And she's like, "Yeah, that's weird."
this is just like, this is Marjorie Taylor Greene's origin story, right? Just calling people pedophiles and shit. Yeah.
No proof.
No proof. Doesn't need it. Yep.
Oh
Yep.
man. And what is up with the score in this movie?
They said we need something loud, and they didn't specify like loud sounding or loud actually in volume. Right?
'Cause it's both of those.
Yes, it
It's
is.
both of those.
Yes, they did not settle.
But the other issue is that even though it's loud, they use it in the parts that shouldn't be loud.
Well, of course. Because if it's not an Italian film, if the music isn't completely off kilter from the rest of the movie.
Oh man, it's everything in this movie is just bizarre. Oh man, I don't even understand. I don't even understand.
Yeah.
Like what the? It's just it's weird. It's confusing and like, but at the same time, I'm watching it and I'm like, man, this is fun. Like
That's the thing. It moves fast enough that it's not an issue.
right. Man, that music score.
Yeah, you heard it 4 times in the trailer.
Yeah, you heard it 115 times during the film.
Yeah.
Man. Well, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Like, it looks good. It looks glossy. It's very like stylized. But it's not necessarily like anything really interesting to look at or anything like that. But it's cool, I guess.
Sure.
I guess. I don't know. Man, I guess we just need that. Was that really, really loud, or is it me?
No, that was loud. That was loud.
All right. Chris, do you recommend, and what is your grade for The Visitor?
You know, this is the weird part for me. This is always the tough part of the reviews. Yeah, I'm going to recommend this one because it's one of those, just take a look. Just see it. Doesn't matter if it's good. Just look what these people did. Check this out.
Look what they did.
Yeah, Shelley Winters, look what you've done. But that's
Look
not a
what you've
bad
done.
thing
I
in this
love
one.
that.
This is an okay kind of thing. So anyway, I'm gonna give it a B- because I think they really had a good idea and they tried to make it mystical and mysterious, and they forgot that you got to kind of tell people what happens in the end sometimes. Like I'm okay with an ambiguous ending if the whole movie wasn't ambiguous. You know,
Right.
Like we're purposely not showing you things to. But if you can do that, on the other hand, if you can do that in a way that keeps the viewer intrigued and the end is open to interpretation, sure. But in this, we didn't have enough information to even speculate on what the kid was doing and what her point was, and it was missing some essential elements, I think, in the mythology of this kid. But it is something you should visually experience, I think. How about that?
We didn't even get into the fucking birds either.
So many birds. I love
Birds was also a ripoff of the birds.
I love the little falcon. This is a very well trained either one or bunch of falcons.
So, I'm recommending it. I am. It's fucking weird and it's bizarre and it doesn't make a lick of sense. But if you can get down with the Italian stuff, this is gonna literally give you everything you want from those movies. Like, you can actually probably cut a large chunk of the mediocre ones just out of your diet. Unlike me though, because I eat them all. But this has got like everything. It's ripping off The Birds. It's ripping off The Omen. It's ripping off The Exorcist. It's ripping off any of those like political type thrillers from that time period.
Yeah.
It's ripping off like everything. It just goes full bore, and somehow they managed to get major Hollywood A-list actors involved in this.
Yeah.
The music is fucking batshit for what it is. Doesn't make a lick of sense. Man, Shelley Winters is the friggin' housemaid. Unbelievable. The poor girl that's from Switchblade Sisters, like, just getting thrown through everything.
Yeah.
And just for that motorcycle bump that stuntman takes. Like I said, I don't know. He may be dead. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Sure fucking looked like he folded in half in that fucking... And not like a dummy folding in half.
Right.
You're like, oh, that's a real person.
Yeah.
Fucking ridiculous, man. Yeah, I'm gonna give it a B. I had a lot of fun with it. It definitely scratches an itch for a certain type of flick for sure, but it's not necessarily going to be like your be all end all, or like something that's like, you know, you're gonna legitimately like think about and go back to for good reasons. You're gonna like think about like her ice skating a guy through a window, and be like, oh man, shit, yeah, I should go back and watch.
It was like that movie we watched where all the Saudi Arabian guys were on the roller coaster, and it went through the wall of a restaurant inside a mall. Remember that shit?
That was Roller Coaster, wasn't it?
No. That was inside a place.
Yeah, but Roller Coaster, he blew up a bunch of different roller coasters, right?
No, I mean like some psychic kid derailed this roller coaster filled with Saudi princes or something. I'll find it.
Oh shit, yeah, it was oh man. We used clips of that for Film Freaks too. Shit. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Fucking hilarious. Yeah, man. You got to see it to believe it. It's that good. It's that good. The Visitor is definitely, if you're a fan of this show, you're going to enjoy it.
Maybe it was Roller Coaster. I mean, it makes sense if he did it earlier in the movie to test it, but I can't fucking remember now.
I can't either. I'll have to look it up. If somebody knows, put it in the Facebook group.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up some images from the movie.
All right, so let's move on to Luz, Flower of Evil, from 2019. This is a Colombian flick. I'll start the trailer here and see what we got.
Tú, mi Señor, bendices este alimento, haz que estas tierras florezcan. Ten piedad de nosotros, Señor, que somos como ser tus sirvientes y vasallos. Aléjanos de todo mal y los hijos del demonio. Haz estas tierras y a esta familia. Donde está Jesús. Guíanos a su reino. Nosotros somos tus enviados. Tu luz, tu voz en la tierra.
Luz, Flower of Evil. Directed by Juan Diego Escobar Alzate. He also wrote the film, starring Yuri Vargas, Andrea Esquivel, and Jim Munoz and Sharon Guzman. So this festival darling in 2019 played a ton of festivals, picked up and released to Shudder, and now it's available in a number of other places. It was a Shudder exclusive for a little while, but Colombian folktale, basically about Christianity and the reincarnation of Christ and the devil and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
So this is a week of movies that don't make sense. Because spoiler alert, this movie doesn't make any sense either.
It's close.
It's almost there.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, will you take the lead on this then? What's the kind of explain the story then? You seem like you have a better handle of it than me.
So what we got going here, I believe, is a M. Night Shyamalan village type thing, because they're living like it's the late early 1800s, but the girl finds a tape recorder in the woods. So that starts off the whole. That's where we are. We're not. You are instantly thrown into what fucking time frame does this happen in? And
Right, and it's never explained.
No, it's not. And
So you're watching an M. Night Shyamalan movie without the twist. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Actually, yeah. Yeah, it does. Because the twists are dumb sometimes. So, the whole movie boils down to one concept, really. And it's everything that happens around that. And the concept is, this guy is in control of this village. And he believes that he has some kind of divine knowledge about Jesus and angels and the devil and the rebirth of God. And he is enforcing his idea of what the religion is on everybody around him, and he has just mentally destroyed these people. However, some people start to smarten up and question him. And then it all goes to hell. And the question nearly is, I think in the end, who, if this is a supernatural film, who is the devil and who is Jesus? I think that's what it really comes down to. How far can your faith drive you before you become a bad guy?
Exactly, yeah. And it's laid out fairly simple to understand who's the good guy and who's the bad guy as it kind of unfolds itself.
The Michael Shannon dude is pretty dead giveaway.
Yeah. Yep, every time. He's got 3 daughters. 2 of them are not his actual daughters, but he's brought them in as his daughters. He's holding a blonde, blue-eyed boy, saying that he's the devil, but there's no real reasoning for this.
Right.
He then also rapes the boy's mother and then sends her on her way. All very, good Catholic Christian belief system stuff going on here.
Yeah.
He holds these girls essentially, under his thumb, via like, an Iron Fist type deal, where they do all of the farming and everything. And the issue with this movie, I think I had was within the way it tried to portray its storytelling. I read that the director basically was like, it's an homage to Jodorowsky. And I'm watching it, and I'm like, this guy's not, you're not even operating in the same area code.
No, The Visitor was more
does.
Jodorowsky than this.
Right. Because he took the idea that Jodorowsky stuff is bizarre and weird and wacky, but made it high art, whereas Jodorowsky thought he was making high art, but it turned out weird and wacky.
Yeah.
And just worked beautifully.
Jodorowsky.
I will say this.
You can't make a Jodorowsky film without his mindset and philosophy on life, which is very unique.
And the whole point of that stuff is that, like, he didn't try to make it weird and wacky.
No.
That's what he thought it was.
That's his singular vision. That's him.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you can't duplicate it.
No.
Because when I read the IMDb synopsis, it says something like a Jodorowskian type, quest or something that.
No.
And it's not
Just
even close.
because you're talking about faith and religion and you've twisted the archetypes doesn't make it Jodorowsky. What makes it Jodorowsky is at one point your skin should crawl, somebody should be naked inappropriately, and then a bunch of surreal shit should happen while all this is going on.
Right.
And you should go,
right.
I need to read more because I should understand this, but I don't.
So he's trying to take this weird sort of dark fantasy type philosophical route with the evils of man, the dangers of believing too much, and then not taking things at face value, as like his like basis of like why these girls have been duped. You know, one of the girls becomes pregnant and then becomes sick, and then it's all hell break loose. But the issue I really had was that in that storytelling, like, he starts to introduce these ideas that I think are very interesting. And just as he gets to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm on board, like, he either forgets that story that he's telling, or he's like, well, that's all I'm going to give you, so that's what you're going to have to deal with. Parts of this movie felt very fresh. And, like, as I was watching them, I'm like, okay, this is, I mean, because let's not fool anyone. This movie is utterly beautiful to look at.
Yeah.
The cinematography is unbelievable. The way it's shot, you know, the film grain that he uses, and I tried to look up what he shot it on, and of course it didn't say in IMDb. And when I say I tried to look up, it wasn't listed on IMDb. I'm sure it's probably listed somewhere else. But like, I tried to figure out what cameras he used, because he gets a very unique, beautiful like art, like almost like a painting type look in a lot of this stuff. And it's utterly beautiful. And I found myself, because I was not taken in by the story that he was telling, being more worried about what I was looking at than feeling what was coming from the story he was telling. If that makes any sense. Does that make sense?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
With this movie, yeah. Anything you could say about it could literally, you know, we could make it make sense. So that's fine.
Right. Well, I mean, I felt like he was very much doing the men are evil and Christianity is evil route, which is fine because we are, and it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's written by men against everybody else. So yeah. I mean, that's the Bible.
It's true, and every male character in this, for the most part, is presented in a, you know, unfavorable light.
Yeah.
And they all fall back on their religion as the reasons why they're making the decisions that they're making.
There was that one older guy, though, that when they were at the waterfall watching the girls bathe, where he just wasn't having any of it. The other guy was like, they're just people. Look at them. I mean, really, he should have just said, come on, what harm could there be in sticking my dick in one of them? That's all he wanted to do. He was attracted.
And we found out.
Yeah, but the guy he was with, right?
Yep.
He didn't want any of it. He didn't want anything to do with it. He's like, no, they said they're angels. They're angels. Leave them alone. Fuck off. And he was relatively okay, like behavior-wise, conscience, what's it called? You know, just his general demeanor seemed to be like, all right, I'll just do what I'm told. I won't have any problems. Every other man in the movie was just garbage.
Right. It's true. So, I mean, as I'm watching it, and I've got the Jodorowsky stuff in the back of my head, and it's definitely got a Terrence Malick feel to it, too, with a touch of kind of like the surreal, like kind of like Cronenberg. Not so much like body horror, but like the feel that Cronenberg brings to his films.
Yeah, that unsettling, I don't know what's going to happen
yeah.
next, I don't want to be here kind of thing.
Right, yeah. It's all bizarre, but I mean, it's probably one of the most beautifully shot films I've ever seen.
It's nice.
It's beautiful to look at. I just wish there was more substance to it. And coming from something that is definitely, or using a story that should have heavy substance. Whenever you have that religious element, there's so much to pull from. But we're also not given any type of background on where they are, what's going on, which would not be much of an issue if you were able to drive the rest of the story home. He leans on what the film looks like, which, again, utterly beautiful. I mean, if in terms of like if you were grading a film simply on how it looked, this movie's an A+.
Yeah.
It could not look any better. but the story just drags it down for me, man. And like, there's not anything really specific. And this was kind of one of my issues I had with The Witch the first time I watched it. And this film, if you like The Witch, you'll like this.
I don't know about that.
No? Okay.
I don't know.
All right, tell me why you don't think so.
Because The Witch told a coherent story and had compelling actors and told a very small, self-contained story. This was a whole town. There was a grander scale to this plan in this one, and I don't think it came together as well as The Witch did. The Witch ended very specifically. You know what happened. You know.
Okay, that's a good point. Well, then I will say that he probably watched The Witch and was like, I could do that.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Because it's definitely got the. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna say that it feels like Robert Eggers, because when this came out, I think only The Witch and The Lighthouse were the only two films he had done. He hadn't done the third film yet.
Okay.
Did you watch The Northman yet, by any chance?
No, I haven't.
I really want to watch it. I haven't got a chance to watch it.
I do,
either.
but I don't at the same time, because I'm not totally interested in a Viking revenge movie.
Oh, I am.
I don't know. It's just
I love you know what? I love Valhalla Rising.
Here's
and
the-
like, oh
here's
man, I
the
love
thing.
that shit.
it's so hot. I'm not even interested in eating, so it's not a good time for me to say I'm not interested. I love eating, obviously, and
I enjoy eating quite a lot.
yeah, and I just can't. I don't want to get up to go to work. I could barely bring myself to watch movies. Like I left the TV on a menu screen the other day because I just couldn't. I wasn't in the mood for anything. So
You just sat there and watched it.
I just like drew on my iPad. It's like, all right, whatever.
All right. Well, with all that said, I guess. Chris, do you recommend and What Is Your Grateful Luz Flower of Evil?
I'm gonna recommend this, and I'm probably gonna watch it again because I do believe that my mood affected my perception of the film. I was tired. I fell asleep. I had to go back. It was just overall not a good weekend for me to watch stuff. So I'm gonna try and be fair with this and say that absolutely it's a beautiful movie to watch. There is a lot of allegorical stuff going on. There's probably a lot of thought put into this, but sometimes when a movie is symbolic, it only is symbolic to the person that wrote it or is directing it, right, or whatever. So some of the movies we've watched before, the symbolism is just lost on because it's either cultural or too specific. And this almost crossed that line, I think. It didn't quite, but it was like a half a step away from a very specific individualized version of how they see how religion could go wrong. Okay. But I don't think it went there exactly. So, a recommend, and I go with a B, not a B plus just yet, but a B because I know this was good. I hated the main character, which you're supposed to. I kept getting feelings of We Are What We Are, or whatever that was called, about that cannibal family.
Oh yeah, We Are What
That's
We Are.
how this felt to me.
Okay.
But way more religious. So, and I don't have a problem with religious movies. I've said it in the past. I think it's a great foundation because, everybody kind of has a general idea of what the three major religions, propose. So it's a great
I know I
mine for stuff, but I feel like this missed out on a little bit of explanation, not necessarily exposition, but just maybe a conversation between characters or something that wasn't so obvious. Like I would have liked to have seen the daughters talk and be like, all right, this is what we have to do. This is what's going. Nobody figured anything out. They all just kind of shifted their religious beliefs in the end. Didn't they?
Yeah.
And I find
Yeah, they did.
that's fascinating. I think that's a great ending because they're so far in they just can't let go. They don't know how. That's their life. It's not like a part. They lived religiously for their entire lives, right? So
Yeah.
it's tough because you want to see your characters break free from whatever is oppressing them and be happy, and I'm not sure that happened. So it's,
I'm not sure of anything that happened
No.
in this movie. So
right, so it's a tough thing to like feel satisfied about because you feel almost like, oh yeah, they're gonna get out. Did they? I don't even know anymore. So this is definitely one that I think maybe in a year we could come back and re-review it, because I think a second watch is definitely going to open it up.
potentially.
It might not. But yeah. So what I say, B minus,
You
B
gave it a
plus,
B.
B.
I think you just gave it a
I
regular
gave it a B and a
You said it's not quite
recommend,
a B
yeah.
plus yet. Yeah, I'm gonna recommend it just because of how gorgeous it looks to watch. Just mute it and like watch it. It looks unbelievable.
Yeah.
Looks so good.
Yeah.
But the storytelling in it is shit. So I can't you definitely liked it more than me in terms of like trying to dig into the story.
I think
I just got I hate to say it, but I got bored with the like lack of explanation on anything, the lack of direction, the lack of any real like clear path that everyone was supposed to be taking. How many people were actually in the town, where they were, when they were, like it was just all like secondary, and I just kept being like, wow, this is really pretty.
Yeah.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah.
So I'm recommending it based on how beautiful it is, and I do get where you're coming from with where there might be more to it if you start to kind of like dig in. So I'm just going to give it a C because I feel like there is definitely more to it. I'm going to be honest, though. I don't think I particularly want to go back and watch it again. I don't know, maybe a year from now I might think differently because of how nice it looks, and I might try to sink my teeth into a little bit more of what they're going for. But I just didn't. The art, style over substance is a big thing for me. And you can get away with it when you do it right.
Yeah.
But if you do it wrong, it's even worse. So this is somewhere in the middle there because it is the style of it is unbelievable, but the substance is like almost harder for me to take in because when you do tackle like a religion based story and you also want to bring in, the evils of man to it, it's difficult for me to kind of overlook that stuff.
True. Yeah.
When there's so much you can do with it, you know?
To be fair, just making your movie about religion doesn't instantly make it have meaning. I mean, this could have been made. I mean, they could have been scared of fucking Godzilla, but if there's no explanation as to why or anything, like just saying Jesus doesn't instantly make it acceptable.
Right, exactly. I mean, we saw how well it was done in Saint Maud, how well it was done in a quieter story with even less characters and less people, and it made it far more believable.
Yep.
So, speaking of believable, Joe was on Resident Evil
3,
which is what what's
it's
the
the
third
desert one. I think it's Apocalypse.
Apocalypse?
This is the first
All right, well,
time
let's see
I'm
what he
able to
thought.
follow along with these because I know them.
Well, hello, Bill. Hello, Chris, and hello, OTC Nation. It's your boy Joe here, and this week we went from Raccoon City to the desert. Bill made me watch Resident Evil Extinction.
Extinction. Yeah.
Forgive the OG Iron Chef intro here, but if memory serves, this was the entry into the Resident Evil franchise where the masses turned on it like a bunch of former 12-year-olds who would jubilantly cheer John Cena are now 13 and CM Punk exists, and now they boo John Cena like he stole their lunch money and pinched their sister's ass.
Yeah, and then they go watch Peacemaker.
Is Resident Evil the John Cena of movie franchises? I mean, they obviously made a shit ton of money. Tons of people went to see them live.
Yep.
So far, none of them have been bad. They're just blatantly phony. They're meaningless fluff created in a corporate boardroom. And while that sucks, and it would have been great if people who actually gave a shit had made them, at least so far, I'd rather watch one of these than another Ginger Dead Man or Bloody Bloody Bible Camp. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old and soft. Happens to all of us. Maybe I just can't produce the righteous indignation I used to. Maybe this movie will be so bad that it reignites that spark to do man's greatest task on earth. Shit on media that I don't care for, but lots of other people do. Let's find out together. Here we go. Side note, here's how much of an impact these movies have had on me, but also how confusing this many entries are. I started Resident Evil, and 3 minutes in I had the thought, man, this starts exactly the same way the last one did. Another 3 minutes in, and I'm like, did they seriously just recycle this shit? Gentle hosts, gentle listeners, I was nearly 7 minutes into the movie before I realized that I was watching Resident Evil Apocalypse. Again. I had no reason to doubt that that's not something that they would do.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, so now I'm a third of the way through this, and while it's kind of generic and unthrilling, it's so far from bad it would be like comparing a gas station hot dog, which is not great but edible, to if you took one of Bark Wahlberg's turds and put it in a bun with a bit of mustard and onion. Which one would you rather have?
Wait, is that Bill? Is that what you give me when I come to your house?
There is one point of fake contention and outrage.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm in my house in 3
Let's
days.
get up to speed first.
Jesus.
Alice is now Mad Maxine, roaming the American Southwest, scavenging supplies, and apparently helping people because she hears a distress call on her radio and just goes to help. Just, yep, nope, no problem here. Nothing suspicious about this. Because it turns out it's actually a family of redneck psychos who first try to rape and then try to kill her.
Right, because Alice never saw Night of
Don't
the
worry,
Comet.
we're like 20 minutes into the movie. Don't worry, she's going to be fine. Umbrella is doing their underground Day of the Dead thing, trying to domesticate the zombies to be obedient, unpaid workers, because even in a barren wasteland planet... Oh, did I not mention that? Did I not mention that the whole planet is now a dry, barren wasteland? It is. Just go with it, because somehow zombies killed the trees and dried up the water. But yeah, even the corporations will try to exploit it. Probably even more so. And then there's Claire Redfield, whose name they drop with such enunciation and gravitas that they might as well have had that character look right into the camera and say, you know, from the games, you like that, nerd? Do you? But my point of contention is this. All of these people have been hard scrapping and surviving out here in the barren wasteland for, I don't know, you got to figure at least a year or two, maybe 3 or 4, and everyone looks really well hydrated. There's no raspy, parched voices. Everyone's skin looks like they just had a facial with like the cucumbers over the eyes and one of those weird aloe drinks with all the pulp in it.
Well, they are in Vegas.
Oh, good point.
Shit, even Allie Larder, who plays Claire Redfield, is wearing makeup for fuck's sake. This caravan of dirt-smudged found family are all sharing unlabeled and outdated cans of food to survive, but Allie Larder is out here easy-breezy beautiful.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Okay.
No, it's CoverGirl.
Dear Resident Evil Extinction, if you're going to do the Birdemic thing, you... Sorry, I just made myself angry with that. So much for letting go of righteous indignation. If you're going to do the Birdemic thing, you got to do it more than just one step better than Birdemic. And you only did just the one step better than Birdemic. And then you made Alice a fucking superhero? At this point, you have failed the phone test. Don't feel too bad, though. You're still better than all the witchcraft movies. Wait. Let me backtrack that. You're still better than every witchcraft movie except Witchcraft 7, because that movie was delightfully bonkers and probably the only one that I would ever go back to.
Oh, fair.
I can use one of the subplots of this movie to perfectly summarize the whole.
All right.
Mike Epps returns from the last film and is part of Claire Redfield's caravan of zombie chow. Early in the film, he gets bitten and he hides it from the crew.
Of course.
It's referenced a handful of times. They do, like the classic, he got bit, but he doesn't want to tell anybody. But at no point is any sort of dramatic feeling elicited by it. He just looks at the bite and goes, "Oh man."
Yeah.
No drama. They don't even try to wring some comedy out of it. Eventually, he just turns and gets quickly shot in the head. Nobody is racked with indecision over killing him. Nobody mourns him. He just exits the film.
Yeah.
It just happens. That's this entire film. It just sort of happens. And it's fine. Here's the thing. The good. Ooh, you're probably already sick of this, but you're probably going to hear it, 3 more times? Mila Jovovich. The bad. The special effects budget was notably reduced here. Like, noticeably reduced.
That's true.
I think what Chris said last week sums it up pretty well so far. I think people just hated this because they didn't do a live action, like, shot for shot of the games. But I think we all know that even if they did that, people would have still bitched about a lack of originality.
True.
I think I would have liked to have seen what Romero would have done there. Resident Evil Extinction is going to get a C+, and I'll be back next week with Resident Evil Afterlife. Unless I accidentally watch this movie again for 7 minutes before realizing my mistake, and then I might just take a week. Until then, be good, everyone.
Oh, there it is. Another one in the books.
Yep.
I don't
They're
know.
garbage,
All
but
right.
for a time I liked them because it's all I had.
But they're like the
It's cotton candy.
like-
It's a cotton candy movie.
yeah.
And thought
don't
is
have any
water
major
to
issues.
these movies. If you think too hard about it, they just it's like a raccoon washing its cotton candy before it tries to eat it.
All right, Reverend Scott. Let's see what you got. What rhymed?
I watched True Blood for a few seasons, and then when everything turned magical, I was like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because I was going through HBO Max the other day,
Yeah,
and I was like, "Oh, I never finished True Blood." I'm like,
yeah,
then I thought about it for a second. I'm like, I don't know if I know anyone that finished True Blood.
yeah. I couldn't tell you either.
Well, you know me. I finished True Blood. I just wish I hadn't.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah. With Reverend Scott.
This whole place is just a urine delivery system.
Hey there, Bill and Chris.
Sup, dude?
This is Reverend Scott.
The most hated man on the internet.
Flattery will get you everywhere. So I have a season of a show I'd like to talk about a bit today, but first, what do we have for Patreon picks from last week?
Yes, so Almost Human or Milano Odario La Polizia Non Può Square. I won't say that again. It's Almost Human from this point on. What
I don't think you could say it again the same way.
Probably not.
We'll check back on that later. Also, we have Nosferatu. Ooh, spooky. Just in time for August. So, how about we start with that Italian thing? Tell us about that, Bill.
Almost Human, Milano Odia, La Polizia Non Può Spare. Directed by Umberto Lenzi, written by Ernesto Gastaldi, who wrote all of the Italian films from this time period. Also, it's got a score by the one and only Ennio Morricone. All right, so we have spam risk calling my phone.
Professional. Anyway, you know what? You said you wouldn't be able to do that again, but actually you did try, so let's see how you did.
Milano Odia, La Polizia Non Può Spare.
Not bad at all. And going into this, at least we knew Chris didn't have any preconceived notions about these types of films.
Polizia movies are kind of garbage.
The only way this could have been even better for Chris is had this also been a sex comedy.
Shut the fuck up.
I give Almost
agree.
Human a C, and I give the review a B-, but in Italian. Bill, what's B- in Italian?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Shut the fuck up.
Moving on, Halloween has come early because we have the 100-year-old Nosferatu.
What?
He might be, I don't know how old he is, but the movie's 100. Bill, tell us how this is different from Bram Stoker's Dracula.
So, Chris, you're a little bit more of a vampire guy than me because you did have a leather duster.
True.
Okay, Chris, then you tell us, what did they change from Dracula?
What'd they change? Nothing.
I'll take your word for it, because I know you really study these films before reviewing them.
I do actually think about like what I'm going to say about movies sometimes.
Just like a real movie reviewer. Anyway, I love the look and the presentation of Nosferatu. I had the same reaction when I first saw him that Chris did when he first met me in person.
Holy shit, that is a scary fucking dude.
It's classic, it's iconic, and incredibly memorable. I basically have to give it an A.
I'm going to give it an A.
It gets an A.
Wow, way to copy off me. But copying is why Nosferatu even exists, so I give the review an A too. Okay, moving on to more important things, namely, what did I watch? Well, I saw a comedy/drama on your boy Hulu called The Bear. It's about a young guy named Carmi returning to his hometown in Chicago after his brother kills himself. His brother ran a kind of dive sandwich joint in Chicago called The Beef. And it's run by a bunch of very colorful employees. And when I say colorful, you know what I mean. Like their characters or personalities.
Definitely not. Very wrong. Apologize.
What makes the show so great is all the comedy that comes from frustration and tragedy. It's a place that wasn't very well run and dropped into the hands of a man that was a master chef at what was considered to be the best restaurant in the world. And now he's trying to run what's essentially a hole in the wall. He's trying to change things, acting like he knows everything, and you can imagine how well that goes over in a Chicago restaurant filled with longtime employees.
There's some eye rolling and some.
Yep, that tracks.
I can't stress enough how intriguing this show is. The survival of a failing business takes a back seat to the personal struggles of the brother and the employees, and they're all dealing with the loss of someone that was close to them and trying to keep it together to get a job done. Carmi tries to be the chef they all need, but the employees just don't always want to listen.
I just don't want to, you know? I just can't bring myself to it.
I get it 100%.
Not to mention his brother had racked up a 6-digit debt to his uncle from borrowing money to keep the place afloat. The fact that they get so much comedy out of what could just be plain depressing otherwise is a marvel.
I kind of get that.
No, you don't. The standout to me was the front of the house manager named Richie, played by Eben Moss Backrack. I don't know. He's a skinny dude with a loud mouth that carries a gun to work that will say almost anything to get his point across. He's streetwise and he acts before he thinks, and at first he seems to have no emotions beyond rage and indifference. At first you're thinking,
what is happening here? Why did somebody stop this fucking guy?
Yeah.
But later on you find out there's a lot more going on than he wants anybody else to know about. I could go on and on about all the characters and things going on this show.
Damn it, no!
But I won't. I'll just say it's highly recommended. I give it an A, and I'm ready for season 2 whenever that's coming. Okay, that's it for me this week, but tune in next week to Outside the Cinema when Chris makes sure he doesn't take the blame when Bill shows up to the live show naked again.
Hey. That was your choice this time.
Fair enough.
I asked Bill and Chris if I should quit doing my segment.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yep.
And finally, Chris thinks my attitude has actually improved, only to realize I'm faking it and it's still shitty.
Gotcha. It's different. No, it's not.
All that and so many more shitty attitudes that aren't different. But until then, peace and love, guys. If you enjoy insightful, thought-provoking, intelligent movie discussion, check out Outside the Cinema.
The dumbest dipshits I've ever seen. What a bait and switch we have.
Yep.
Well, there you have it. Another show in the books, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll do Prey next week. I got to figure out what the other movie is. I'm in New York for the remainder of the week after today, so...
You know what?
I mean, I'm back.
I don't think it's on the Patreon picks, but I would really like to cover Jugface at some point.
All right.
I really like that one.
All right, we'll do Jugface and Prey next week.
All right.
Thank you guys for hanging out. Follow us wherever, or don't. That's cool. Join the Patreon, or don't. Also cool. Everybody have a good
Yeah,
week.
good night.